What up, what up? It's your girl Riz, and we're back with another video. I know y'all missed me because I missed you, and I gotta get back into the groove of recording because it's been 2 weeks since I recorded. I have so much to tell you and share with you guys. I feel like there's so much that just has been going on. There's just so much I want to share with you, but like at the end, because there's some exciting things. Okay, along with my mic, look at my pink mic, and look at the black drop. Okay, in today's video, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of living in Sweden as a newcomer. Pretty sure some of you might be able to relate. Maybe you might not be able to relate. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to talk about the pros and cons. Without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? I wrote in my community post 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to reply to that comment. I think it was Fred, a buddy. Shout out to Fred. I really wanted to wait to read and respond to your comment on here, so that will be towards the end. Oh wow, there's there's a lot going on here. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget, because there's a lot. Pros of living in Sweden as a newcomer. Pro number 1. Slowing down. And really just breathe and look at all the trees that are outside. Look at all the trees. How can you miss it? Something I really admire about Sweden is the slower pace lifestyle. Coming from the US, it also depends on what part of the US you're coming from. I was working in the New York metropolitan area, so it was very fast paced. It was always go and do, and I felt often like there wasn't enough hours in the day. My checklists and my to-do lists would carry on the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then the anxiety would pile up, the stress would pile up. I felt like I was gonna give myself a heart attack. From the amount of caffeine and stress and lack of sleep, I was gonna have a heart attack in my early 30s. Like, that's how I genuinely felt. And all that for what? For somebody else's dream. Capitalism was like, no, always be a consumer, don't be a producer, and less time for yourself to be a producer and be more of a consumer. And I sincerely hated that. I'm not saying that if you're working for another company or working for somebody else's dream, I mean, you are, but essentially you're burning yourself out. You're not getting enough sleep. You have no time for your own life to enjoy anything, all to achieve a high salary that you barely get to enjoy, and that you don't have time for yourself. But that's not to say that there is no worth in anything I was doing, because there was great value. I wouldn't be here without that. Being here in Sweden, it has allowed me to really live my life, enjoy the greatest things in life, and enjoy my time. Not live to work, but work to live, because now I get to travel to places, which I have some disclaimers at the end of the video about traveling, but life is short. It's temporary, and we're all gonna die. Number 2, cost of living is a lot more affordable here than it was in the United States. It depends on the state you live in, your salary, your family situation. There's a lot of factors that depend, but either way, it is very expensive because of the economy. Rent started to get higher. I noticed as I got older. When I got on my own, rent I was paying a mortgage payment for my apartment. Also because, again, it does depend on where you live. I didn't have roommates. I was paying 2,500 US dollars a month. Guess about 26,000 krona. And that didn't include utilities. I know all places like this aren't like this in Sweden, but I do have utilities that are included in my rent, and it is way cheaper to live here. I can save. I still have money left over that I can save. I'm rich. Yeah. Also, from what I have seen, I don't really see that many homeless people in Sweden and in the States, way in New York. I remember specifically, it was winter time and I was getting off on the last stop and they were announcing that it was the last stop unless you are sleeping on the train. That was my experience in the city. And here in Sweden, I have seen homelessness. I do see people just sleeping in corners. In that way, it's very similar. Subway, train stations, you have people sleeping, but I don't think I've seen a person sleep outside in Sweden, but it's not common that I know. You see a lot of people sleeping outside or on benches, or there's even tents in the United States full of homeless people. That is the second pro that I had, that cost of living is affordable. Back to you guys. What is another pro? Ooh, personal space. I respect this so much. I'm talking about the US here. Maybe this is just a bigger city problem, but you have a lot of people in different areas of New Jersey and New York that will just like ask you for money. I've seen signs in New York especially that would say, need money for weed. And they're honest, they need money for weed. But then you have people that actually come up to you and ask you for money, which has happened on multiple occasions. That people, I've actually even been grabbed by my arm in a train station. You really got to be on guard. Swedes here keep a high sense of their boundaries, which is respect. Salute to you guys, for real. Even though it's kind of hard to make friends unless you join a community of people or whatever, congregation, I can definitely respect the personal space, whether that's on trains and just in public, at the store. I like it. Not to say you don't get personal space in the United States. I'm sure you do in different regions, but in bigger cities, like, come on. You're gonna have, randos, especially as a female. People will just, talk to you. That's normal. I think this person had told me they moved out of Sweden and lived in the UK for a while and came back. I was actually approached in a store, wanted to talk to me because they saw me, and that was like a shock because it's like, I didn't know that this happens in Sweden. I was told that stuff like this doesn't happen, and it happened. Pro number 4 is Fika. I love Fika. Why I say Fika is a pro, because it is also part of the culture. You just connect with your colleagues, you connect with friends. It's a high quality time with a person, and that's something I respect as well. This is just worldwide. I feel like people have this mask on, and it might be hard to communicate because like barriers depending on whatever it is. I genuinely feel like people here, if they don't want to talk to you, they're not going to talk to you, or people might push themselves out of their comfort zone to talk to you if you're willing to do that. In the United States, I've definitely felt like if I was having coffee with someone from work, it would feel like forced at times. It would feel fake, like they're doing it because they have to do it. And again, this is my personal experience. Where here, if you're taking a break to talk to someone at work over Fika, you just talk to get to know each other more. Not because of like you're being forced to, or because you kind of have to do it, but it's a time to just take a pause from what you're doing, take a mental load off, connect. Of course, have some great snacks. I've been getting a lot cannelle brûlée, but that is my favorite. Number 5. This is subjective because I think there are many beautiful places all around the world for nature. It's just the nature here is beautiful, and it's just like a reminder sometimes of how beautiful God created this world. Yes, I said it. Sometimes the views are just so breathtaking everywhere. The whole entire world has nature. We are nature, human nature. But I'm saying, like, I love the beauty of it. Yeah, it's so refreshing. The air feels so clean to breathe. Yeah, that's it. That's really it. Are you with me? Number 6, a pro about living in Sweden. This is what I love. And I heard it's not only like this in the United States, but I also heard it's like this in Spain, some countries in Asia as well. But the hierarchy. Oh, sorry. That's not the pro, but the pro is the neutrality. Everything is neutral, regardless of how much money you make, your income, where you live, what you look like, your social status, like the material items you have, the cars you drive. Even at work, there's no hierarchy. Everyone is treated with the same amount of respect. People treat each other as the same. They don't feel superior to one another. And it just blows my mind. I'm just gonna call it out because this is my opinion in my channel. I think it is outright stupid that people think that they're superior because they have a material item that they cannot take with them to the grave. And you cannot take material things with you when you die. They mean nothing. What matters is your heart. I love that about Sweden. I love how people treat each other with the same amount of respect no matter what. At least from my experience, I've sat in rooms and met people who all they care about is material items. How expensive somebody's shoes are, how expensive somebody's purses are. They kill people over chains, let alone beliefs. Like, they get shot for their beliefs. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I did want to mention him in my video because it just hit me really hard. I don't apologize for calling out the stupidity of it, especially in the work culture that I was experiencing in the United States, in New York. It was very undermining, deceitful, hateful, cutthroat type of environment. This world does not give a crap about you. There's so much more to life than just money. I love that about Sweden, that they do not, Swedes don't look down on you because you may not have something. In the United States, it was almost kind of like, how dare you talk to a higher up? Like, relax. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the cons. This is also subjective, and I might get hate for this or pushback for this. Viewer discretion is advised. When I also mentioned this concept to some people back at home, they were like, how? Number 1, you only get paid once a month. But depending on how you look at it, yeah, it could be a con for sure. It definitely taught me to budget a lot better. Also, it is very hard to come up with a cons list for Sweden, so I had to find something. Like, not everything could be great all the time or perfect. It doesn't really affect me too much, but I could see how that could be a con. I don't really have anything much to say about it besides, like, coming from a culture where people get paid weekly, they get paid bi-weekly. I was used to twice a month. Yeah, once a month is like kind of crazy now that I think about it. You get your full salary and it's at the end of the month. You have to outweigh, is it worth it? I think I actually save a lot more here than I did in the States because one check was probably going to rent, in all honesty. I don't even know if it's necessarily a con, to be honest. It's just like something to get used to for sure. That's it. A second con, early closing times of some stores. Again, it's a cultural difference. But then again, I noticed that stores in the United States also started closing early. For example, Walmart used to be 24/7, and grocery stores used to be 24/7. I think some crimes started to happen, either robberies, shootings. We really just ruined it for ourselves in the United States. I think some parts, but in terms of like things being 24/7, I was always the type of person that if I just was bored and wanted to go for a drive, I'm like, all right, let me go to the gas station, or let me just go to a 7-Eleven and get something. It's just like a preference thing. That's all. Here, I feel like things close pretty early, even the malls. By the way, I went to Synoptic for my lenses and my contacts, and I got an eye checkup. Yeah. So I did that. I got new contacts and I got new glasses. This one, maybe you guys can relate with me on this. Number 3, weather layering. I have no idea what to wear. I was genuinely confused, especially if you're a newcomer. I wake up and it's cold. Later in the day, it's like hot, and late at night, you're just like, it gets cold again. What do I wear? Do I wear a tank top and some shorts and some sandals? But then I gotta carry a hoodie with me just in case. Take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Then I'm like, I don't want to carry this. I don't want to carry it with me. Do I carry an umbrella with me or not? Like for 1 minute, I'm sitting in the park and it's super nice outside, and the next thing you know, boom, like bunch of rain, and I'm like, what the heck? And the sun's back out and then it's hot again, and I'm like, I don't know. I haven't gotten used to it. And I also heard the winters are pretty rough. I haven't experienced a full winter yet, but I'm in for a treat. So yeah. The 4th con I would say is like, people are very reserved here. In fact, so reserved that as a newcomer, it may be hard for you to make friends. Don't get me wrong, I still appreciate like the personal space, mostly from like a safety standpoint, and also like a boundary. They already have their circle of friends. They're not really interested in making new friends. I mean, that's not everybody, but that's what I've heard it basically is like. But fortunately, I have the pleasure of meeting new people through my church. I hang out with people from church now, which is nice because I got to meet people from South Africa, Asia, like the Philippines, people from the United States, and people here from Sweden, Norway. It's a very international, diverse group of people that I feel like I can call my family, and we're all deeply rooted in our belief in God. The 5th con of living in Sweden. Not many Swedes might relate to this, but it's just, as an immigrant, it's a whole process to go get your personal number, then you got to get a bank so that you can open up a bank account, to have a bank ID. And I think the whole process might have took me 4 or 5 months in total. I didn't have a bank account for probably 4 months. Maybe it's like that with any country. I actually don't know. I never moved to another country besides Sweden. Yeah, that's a con where, I mean, gratefully, I do have a personal number now, though, and I have a bank, and I've been called a Swede. You can't swish anybody. I was like, man, I really want to know what it's like to swish somebody. I actually went to a place where I had no idea that I needed to swish. Like, that was the only form of payment, and I didn't have Swish back at that time. I actually had to call up one of my friends really early in the morning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I didn't know that I had to pay only with Swish. Is there a way that you can swish them for me, and then once I get my Swish, I'll swish you back? Which it took me a while to swish her back, but she did. Thankfully came through, and I swished her back. And also, I remember when I first came, I couldn't go to the gym for about a month because I needed a personal number in order to get a gym membership. Yeah, that was hard. And last but not least, the least the number 6 con I was gonna say is housing. I heard that it's very, I'm not gonna say off of like personal experience, but also kind of, because like I had very limited options. And also from the people that were helping me with the relocation when I first moved, I heard that it's so hard to get an apartment. At least in Stockholm it is. I like the area that I'm in. I like the municipality. It's very close to work. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna move anytime soon. Like what I have now, I'm okay with it. I don't know if that goes for all of Sweden, but I heard it's competitive. There's like a whole market listing. They have to put your name on and like a bidding process. So once I get closer to that, maybe I'll speak more on that based on my knowledge. And also, I just wanted to share with you some life updates. So Fred, I didn't forget about you. I have to reply to your comment. Let me just read your comment. What do you say? I saw it and I did read it, but I didn't get to it because I wanted to get to it. Like I briefly saw that you commented, but I didn't really get to see what else you said. Okay, this is fun. Freddie here. I am visiting my sister who lives in the UK. How's your sister? And where in the UK does she live? And how old is your sister? And who's the oldest? Are you guys twins? Is she your only sibling? How long did you stay in the UK? And am therefore writing from my tablet. Speaking of siblings, did you find any more than the previous 8? That's a really good question. Yeah, from the 8 that we know of, I haven't heard of any other siblings. Thanks for asking though. That was very nice. And that was the only comment I got. You guys are whack. You guys don't want to have a conversation. Shout out to Fred. He's a real one. He's been here since the beginning. Yes, now going to the life updates. I actually booked a flight to Iceland. So I'm going to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. Just because I've heard a lot of chat around going to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. So I'm going for a week. I'm going to Africa next month with my new family from church. And also, very last minute, but for work, I'm going to Norway this week. A lot of upcoming travels. It's in Africa. Yeah, anyways. Oh, and my Swedish classes started again, and I've been kind of rusty a little bit, but the past 2 classes have been like a refresher of just like speaking in Swedish and reading, and we get homework every week.
Vilket land var bäst? Prague, okay. Varför var Prague bäst?
Now it's just like basics, what I already know, just need a refresher about. I have also just been serving at my church. Work has been busy. I have my class going on. I'm also working on a brand. Actually, speaking of a brand, this is actually a hoodie from my brand when I first created the brand, which is called Naturel. I promise you I'm not promoting. These aren't even available anymore, but I'm just showing you. I'm trying to rebrand my brand. How I'm living my life now, I wanted to reflect that. I'm thinking about like hoodies or t-shirts. I've also been trying to rebrand this podcast that I've created years ago. I'm taking everything in a new direction. Just transformation. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of my journey. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments below. I also did see that some of you have emailed me, and I want to say I apologize for not answering right away, but I promise you I will get to them. Thank you all for being here and just like chilling and tuning in and asking questions and being you guys. I can't wait to see you guys again and chat with you guys. So many blessings to you all, but nothing but love for you guys. Mwah, mwah. Hey, Doa.